Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Welcome. How's everybody doing? Getting everybody logged in. Hello, hello. Let me know you guys can see me.
Hi, Patty.
Hi. Okay, great. Thank you, David. You guys are my heroes. Just getting everybody logged on. I know some people have some stories. We got some stories to share. I got some information to share. So I'm going to start number one right out of the gate with buckle up, Inland Empire. Yeah, I said it. Buckle up, Inland Empire. Get ready for a taste of what rent control is actually like. Okay? Under current California state rent control laws, AB 1482, it says that anything that we have that is subject to statewide rent control is 5% plus the CPI, never to exceed 9.2% in the Inland Empire area. Okay? You guys ready for this? New CPI came out and it's 2.5% for the Inland Empire, meaning your maximum rent increase for the first time ever is 7.5%.
Patty, the 9.2% is forever or just
Do you know how they have a maximum cap rate not to exceed 10% under state law? The Inland Empire is at 9.2%.
okay, that's going to be forever now.
That's forever, but your current maximum rent increase in the Inland Empire area is 7.5%.
Yeah, I got that because of CPI. I got that. Thank you.
I'd like to remind everyone of one thing nobody ever thinks about. A lot of us put an ADU in, put in a second unit. I mean, supply and demand, I get it. It all makes sense, right? Oh, I built an ADU in 2020 when, building supplies, we didn't have anything to do. Some of us built ADUs, okay? Wake up, pay attention. The ADU that you built is exempt for the first 15 years after you get a certificate of occupancy, okay? But the house that's been sitting in there immediately has rent control once you get the certificate of occupancy on the ADU, because now you have 2 units on a lot. Okay, a lot of people are forgetting that part of it and just thinking, oh, I built an ADU, it's exempt. Yeah, but the house in front now immediately has rent control. So please keep that in mind, okay? A lot of people are forgetting that and thinking rent control doesn't apply to them. 2 or more on a property bill sure does. And the only thing that makes you exempt from 2 units on one tax bill is if the owner lives in one. Ooh, got it? Everybody got that? Okay. Hang on, I know I just saw more people are trying to get in and I want to make sure we get everybody in here.
Patty, so how they came up with 9.2%? Used to be 10. And
it was 10 under state law, and it is 10 under state law, but certain jurisdictions are saying that they want to cap it differently, okay? Like they say it will, I think it's in LA, it won't go over 8.9. I don't know. I have to go look at what the parameters are. But for the first time ever, we're seeing more restrictions in what we do in the Inland Empire, was my point, because they haven't seen that before. They've never been under 8% ever. So it's quite shocking. And then when you throw in the ADUs, people forget and they don't realize that that front house immediately has rent control. The ADU's exempt, and maybe they built it in 2020, so it's got 10 more years of exemption, but they had no idea, and they've been doing rent increases that weren't in compliance with statewide rent control, which can cause them illegal rent increases and all kinds of problems. So all I was trying to point out is, for the first time ever in history, we now have rent restrictions. Hang on, people still getting in. And the people coming in are in the Inland Empire. So I kind of need to Just talking to you guys all out loud, okay? CPI for Inland Empire is 2.5%. That covers areas of Riverside, it covers areas of San Bernardino, it covers pretty much a 40 or 50-mile radius is how I like to look at it. Maybe it's a 30-mile radius from Ontario International Airport. Ooh, want me to say that again? Listen to me, you guys. I've been watching everything unfold really closely since COVID. You know why? Because I didn't have anything better to do. And what I learned, okay, by watching is that counties that run along the coast have more restrictions. Why do they have more restrictions? Because they have more population. Why? Because they're more desirable. Paying attention? If you look at metropolises within California, we are one of the states that has the most of them. I believe we have 5 metropolises in our state. That's insane. Sacramento is one of them. That's one. Okay. Another one would be Los Angeles. Duh, Patty, that's a given. Another one, San Diego. Okay. Another one, Orange County. All of these have international airports. Around an international airport is a bunch of warehouses. And just outside of those bunch of warehouses is a bunch of apartments. Why? Because it takes all those people to work all those warehouses to run that airport, and it creates its own metropolis. Paying attention? Oh, heavy restrictions come in heavily populated areas. I don't think you'd have a problem doing a higher rent increase in the city of Needles or Yermo. You guys paying attention to what I'm saying? Because it's not a metropolis. It doesn't warrant higher rents, but it also isn't heavily condensed population. In today's market, sorry, thought I'd throw that in there. I mean, you guys all know where I'm talking about. Here, let me give you a different place. Let's say Baker. We all know where that is, right? That's not a metropolis. There's no international airport. There's no airport at all. Well, except for the aliens, of course. Sorry, had to. All right. I think IE isn't going to become LA, but I think we're going to see more and more restrictions there that we weren't prepared to see. That's what I'm saying. It was on the news today that Inland Empire is expecting growth of 1 million people by 2020.
Sorry,
Hey, it's all good.
2040, sorry.
2040.
Yeah.
I looked at you and was like, I think we're there. I would agree with that. Okay. I hear all you guys talk about the homeless problems, and I see some of them, and I say some of them because I live in a town where my mayor won't allow it. Shh. Okay. Don't tell everybody. Shh. So I don't see all of the things that you guys do on a daily basis. So when I come to LA and I see these things and the amount of people using the crosswalks that I don't see in our normal traffic pattern, it is shocking. It is shocking to somebody that doesn't live in that environment on a daily basis. I commend all of you for it. I appreciate all of you for it. Do not get behind me in traffic or get behind me and videotape it. It's pretty funny because, yeah, humans are rude. They're just rude in general. Rude. I mean, if you're merging, it goes one car, another car. One car, another car, right? That's how you merge. You don't go one car, 2 cars. That's rude. Okay, let's get off the subject of driving in California. But you guys all get it is, hello, Joanne. I have move-in photos for repairs. Oh, people got questions. Okay, let's go. I'm sorry. Hey, Patty, Roadrunner, I have tenants that just moved out San Bernardino County, single family home, exempt or not covered by the Tenant Protection Act. Tenants moved in 2019. We inherited this property and the tenant from another company, and they did not take move-in photos. The owners want to charge for the carpet being stained in one room, but according to the tenant's move-in inspection, some rooms were already stained. Tenants did get the carpets cleaned, professionally cleaned when they moved out. What are our options? You can always have them re-cleaned because the cleaning wasn't up to your standards. Does that make sense? Look, I can go rent a Stanley steamer and give you a receipt. It doesn't mean I actually did a good job. And if the carpet crunches when you walk on it, it's because they used too much soap and didn't rinse it all out. You know, those little tips and tricks we learn as we get older and more experienced. So your options are to clean the carpets again and charge them, because whoever they charged was not up to your standards, is the nicest way I could explain that. Can I ask you about a noise sensitive tenant with a shared wall with another tenant? Absolutely. You want to unmute yourself? How do you want to ask me?
Yeah, hey Patty. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I've got this tenant and she's been in there for like 10 years and she's always complaining about noises. Like the people who have a bird legally, a caged, a little tiny parakeet or whatever. She complains, oh, I can hear the bird chirping. I mean, the people use the toilet in the middle of the night and she gets mad at them for using the toilet because she can hear the water flushing and all that. So now these people are about to have a baby in 2 weeks, and I know she's gonna flip her freaking lid. With the
Okay,
noise
and
from a
this is
baby.
what you say to her. I'm sorry that you're unhappy with the noise level within our community guidelines. Maybe you should consider living in a home that doesn't have common walls that are shared.
Okay, simple as that.
Did I tell her she had to move out?
No,
Are the noises within that unit within your company and community guidelines?
yes,
Is it a reason for you to call the police and file a report for noise?
no.
Exactly. Because you don't do anything about the noise. Law enforcement does. It's their job, not yours. So if it doesn't warrant calling the police, then maybe she wants to move somewhere where she doesn't share common area walls.
Should I use the word they are not violating the code of peaceful and quiet enjoyment?
They're not violating the right to quiet enjoyment. I'm sorry you're unhappy with the normal community noise level. And the reason that I keep saying the normal community noise level is, look, if somebody slams a door or the wind catches it because you have the window open because of a breeze, and the door gets slammed and everybody complains, I can hear them slamming doors. No, you heard a door slam once. That's okay. If you hear slamming doors, it means somebody's opening it and slamming it and opening it and slamming it. You know, like what happens when you get in a fight with your partner? We kind of open the door and slam it back and forth, right?
Yeah.
So look at it in that perspective. If they're not continually doing that and getting a broom and banging on the ceiling or the floor, I don't see an issue with it.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
And you have to remind them this is normal community living. If you don't like sharing common walls, maybe you need to find a different arrangement.
Gracias.
Should I ask all the tenants in the building to move out because you don't like the noise? I mean, some of the things they ask for are ridiculous. And I hate to say this out loud, but how does she know that the bird chirping isn't outside?
Because she's a Mrs. Kravitz and she looks in there.
Mrs. Kravitz may need to go get her own house.
Yeah.
All right, let me know if you need anything else. You're not telling her she has to move, just suggesting that she might not like community living anymore.
Right. Thank you.
No problem. You also have repairs for the move-in photos that I have no repairs. I got you, girl. this is what I'm gonna tell you. Go file the suit as soon as possible and have at it with the judge. Why do I say this? This is small claims court, okay? If the tenant doesn't know any better and they don't try to fight you, or they agree with some of these charges, or you just keep the deposit, it's a business decision. Does that make sense? If they start to bark at you and quote you civil quotes, I'm gonna tell you to still go to small claims court. It doesn't cost very much money for you to go do that and file a small claims case. When I say that, it shouldn't be more than $75 for you to go file the paperwork, okay, with the courthouse. With that being said, that is a small price to pay to go find out. This is a new law. There's no case law regarding the new law. Let a judge make a decision, not you, not me, not the tenant. Got it?
Patty, if
So-
they move out before July 1, though, they don't have to worry about photos.
If you move out before July 1, you don't have to worry about photos. Perfect. Another thing is, if you aren't taking photos of repairs during the tenancy, you're failing yourself, especially if it's something you want to bill back to the tenant as damage. So make sure you're training your vendors to take the photos for you so you don't have to, okay? And you guys, just so you know, I hurt myself at the fair. I hurt my back carrying heavy stuff. So I'm sitting on the floor crisscross applesauce and hoping that my back kind of adjusts and shifts back into place. It'll probably do it on the live because everything always happens to me on the live. So I'm prepared for it, but I thought I'd warn all of you. Okay, here we go. Question, and thank you, Arlene. Thank you. I appreciate you more than you know. Susan, I have an application requirement. I have application requirements. You have criteria, Susan, criteria. That's the word for what you're trying to say. And your applicant meets the requirements, but you know they're going to be a pain and a problem. Do I have to accept them? If they meet your criteria and you have no legal way to deny them, then I'm going to be very cautious on what I tell you moving forward. And I hope Chris is here so he could give 2 cents of an opinion if he's available. And if he's not, that's okay. But I just got to be very cautious on how I say it and what I say. So let me say this so it's not legal advice. If they meet all of your criteria and you deny them, you make yourself susceptible to a discriminatory complaint, okay? I don't like fair housing because it's no longer called the Department of Fair Housing and Fair Employment. It is now called the Civil Rights Department. Wait, where'd the word fair go? So far, everything is being treated fair, but when is that gonna change? And I don't think asking for a $10,000 settlement at Hello is fair at all. It's extortion. So with that said, that's not somebody I want to poke around with. So in the event my tenant then signed a holding deposit agreement, the applicant signed a holding deposit agreement, and I needed to back out for any reason, I could refund the money to them and they would have no penalty. However, I wouldn't want to put the unit back on the market, in my personal opinion, for 180 days so that I didn't trigger any kind of retaliation issue. Okay, and that's just my opinion. If Chris is on here, he may add his 2 cents. But if they meet all your criteria and they're just annoying jerks, then they're annoying jerks. And you got to say things like, I'm sorry you're not happy with the house. Maybe this house isn't for you. Maybe you don't want to move in here. You can't you can't assume that they're going to be a pain by a comment they made or something that happened. You know they're going to be a pain by the activities that are going on and the questions you're being asked. I get it. But the reality is we're equal opportunity housing and we must do so. We must provide equal opportunity housing for everyone. And even if they're a big jerk, if they meet all of our criteria, we have no legal reason to deny them. If you want to be creative in other aspects, it's a very dark gray area for me. I am programmed not to think in that direction. So I am not the person to ask that question to get a solid answer out of. Because I don't look good in orange. I don't think you guys look good in orange. And I want to keep everybody away from problems as much as I can. In the event you and your husband got in a fight, and I'm just talking out loud, and one of you needed to move back into the property, it would be a reason for you to cancel the applicant and move back in, but I would be living in that house by myself for 6 months just to be safe. I don't like to play around with them. Like I said, if somebody else wants to give you their opinion, that's fine, but
Yeah, unfortunately, it's an apartment complex in downtown Los Angeles. There's more than one vacancy. There's 20, and I'm kind of taking over a headache. And the issue is not they meet the FICO score, the income, that kind of stuff, but the on-site manager that was, there to help show me the unit because I wasn't there at the time had left without letting me know, and this person waited, and while they were waiting, almost got in a fight with two of my tenants because he was irritated that he was waiting. And so that's the bad sign, really bad sign. Yeah, like physical, wanted to physically fight one of my
yeah,
tenants.
unfortunately, that kind of behavior isn't going to be tolerated at this community. So we're concerned with approving your application and moving forward at this point because of that. Have you approved them yet?
No, I have not.
And you've checked out all of the criteria?
I'm reviewing everything else to find something. Yeah, I get where you're going, Patty. Yeah, yes, yes.
Dig deep, baby.
I knew you were gonna say that. I'm
deep.
digging, looking for
Okay,
the bones. Thank you.
dig deep.
Patty, can I ask
yes.
her a question?
You can ask her whatever you want.
Who did you use to do the credit check?
So we use the management software program Appfolio. They have to submit their application online.
Yep.
And so we run it through Appfolio because then they
Appfolio has their own credit screening and they charge a minimal amount to landlords to
Yeah.
run credit.
I don't have any experience with Appfolio, but the reason why I was asking is because AOA, I paid for like the top credit one, and now what they're doing is, so they run the credit check, you get it right then and there, and then you have to wait a few days and they'll go and take a look at, I don't know, I think like if they have any judgments, a history of judgments. And so their credit score came back great. And then I waited a few days and then that report came in and they had a bunch of judgments. And I asked AOA, I'm like, well, why didn't that affect their credit? And they said, those, I don't know, the people who have the judgments, I forget what you call them, but they probably just didn't go after their credit. And so, but I just thought that was really deceiving. And I'm glad that I paid extra for that report because it showed me like that was my way to say this application doesn't qualify. And I'm so glad that I didn't move forward with it just based on the credit score because they had a bunch of judgments.
Okay, I want to say something out loud, so everybody listen to me. And this will make more sense to you as to why, Julia. Okay? Do you guys remember in 2017 when they passed the eviction masking law? January 1st, 2017, they passed an eviction masking law saying that evictions wouldn't show on tenants' credit reports unless the landlord prevailed within the first 60 days of filing. That's why all these tenants file answers, so it goes over 60 days, so their record's sealed. Okay, you got it? You understand? It's bureaucracy and bullshit at its finest. Okay.
Apparently there's another reason though. There's also these
Hold on.
beware of the eviction mills is all I'm gonna say.
Yes, beware of the eviction mills, but that wasn't where I was headed. The same year, in August of that year, they passed a law on consumer debt stating that landlord tenant debt no longer shows on credit reports. Okay, so that may be why it's not affecting their credit, but they have all these judgments against them. Some of that debt doesn't show anymore. Consumer debt does, but not landlord tenant debt. Okay, so that might be why you didn't see it affecting their credit report, but then all of a sudden you get the report back and it shows all these judgments. That may be why.
Yeah, and I was just glad that I paid the extra money and it was well worth it to see that, oh no, they don't have a perfect credit score. They in fact have judgments, which is even worse. So maybe she can go that route and do that. I don't know. But
Don't you have to have a criteria that is specifically? Because
that's in my criteria. I say no judgments, no bankruptcies, no
Evictions.
any of that.
Yeah, we all try it.
I
Yeah,
also personally, I also want to know if they're like a litigious person, if they filed a lot of lawsuits.
And the way to find that out is by looking up the vexatious litigant list from the courthouse. Ding.
Yeah,
So
but the part of the problem is that people move around a lot more too, at least
They do.
some people do in certain kinds of housing.
They do. They most definitely do. I had something else that I wanted to say, and then it left my brain as fast as it came in there. So I know Arlene has a story that she wants to share with us. And if all of a sudden it pops back into my brain like a squirrel, I'll yell at everybody. Arlene, are you ready to share with us what you
Yeah.
know?
Sure.
Okay.
You have some other questions if you wanted to answer.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me look, Arlene. I got sidetracked. My back is killing me and I thought it was gonna pop back into place, but it's arguing.
Well, if you want me to do my thing and you can take a few minute break, that's fine.
No, you're fine. Let's go with Joanne real quick. I have a couple that moved out. He rented it as a bachelor. Now he has a girlfriend and 4 kids. In 3 years, their walls are a mess. There are also many other issues. I do have photos from before they moved in. When do I send the photos? I have a couple that moved out. Oh, wait, when do I send the photos? Not until they move out. And you're gonna go after them for damages. If you have move-in photos, it means you can charge them at move out. So under new law, it says that we have to have move-in photos and move out photos and photos of the repair after it was completed in order to charge the tenant. So that's what all the questions about photos are.
And you have to provide them, don't you? And with
Yes.
the disposition.
After 3 years, paint becomes wear and tear. So let me say it a different way. If they put a nail in the hole to hang a picture and they took the picture off, the nail is wear and tear. If they pulled the nail out, they left a hole. If they patched that and didn't paint it, then you're gonna have to paint the whole wall to match. Okay, so you see where wear and tear and damage changed? Wear and tear, nails still in the wall. Nails out of the wall, that's damage. Patchwork, gotta paint the whole wall, that's damage, okay? If there's crayon marks and somebody scribbled on the walls, that's damage. If you have pet damage from chewing, urinating, scratching, damage. Damage is damage is damage is all day long. Scuff marks, where furniture rubbed against walls, that's wear and tear all day long and twice on Sundays, okay? Let me move on to the next part of that thing. I have a couple that moved out. He rented it as a bachelor, okay, I've taken over 100 photos. There are also many other issues. I do have photos from before they moved in. When do I send the photos? When you do the disposition of security deposit, but you don't need to technically do all of that until, I believe Arlene said July 1st is when that starts, where you have to have photos of everything. Also, he called me last night, not leaving a message, probably asking about the deposit, but the email stated that they were going to move out on June 2nd, and I sent them the form saying that they would have to pay 2 days of rent. Then they verbally told me that they would move out on May 22nd. When did they move out? When did they move out and give you the keys? What day? And then my question is, when were they supposed to be out? If they verbally told you that they would move out on May 22nd, and they did,
Sorry.
when does the original 30-day notice to pay rent or quit expire?
He sent me an email saying he was moving on May 2nd. And
Okay,
so I responded back to say, okay, your move out date is June 2nd. You need to pay, that there's a form, California Apartment Association says.
I'm
there's a
very
form
familiar
that
with
you
it.
have
You
to
want him to pay a prorated amount. Yes.
So then the prorated rent. Okay, so then about May 24, he tells me I'm not paying June 1st and June 2nd. And he says,
Okay.
I'm going to move out. I'm going to move out now. I'm going to move out May 31st.
Okay.
So
When did he give you the keys?
they left the keys over there on May 31st.
Okay,
They
okay, I'm gonna
wanted-
help you. I'm gonna help you the easiest way possible, okay? In your rental contract, do you have a written agreement?
Yes.
Is it with AOA, AGLA, CAA? Help me. CAR?
CAA, California Apartment Association.
Which says that they must give you 30 days written notice in advance. So they're responsible for the rent until June 2nd, regardless of when they gave you the keys prior to that date.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Okay?
Okay.
Doesn't matter if they moved out and handed you the keys on May 3rd or May 30th. They're still owing you rent till June 2nd as per their written lease contract. If they go over that, they owe you more money.
Okay, another question is we've had not a terrific business relationship here, but he called me twice last night probably in regards to his deposit. He has a $2,500 deposit. So
Well, you're going to charge him for 2 days of prorated rent out of that deposit right out of the gate.
right. Well, I did. I told the girlfriend and she hung up on me when I told her that.
Stop telling them what you're going to do and just do the disposition of security deposit. And that's how you do that. I try to limit my communications with the tenant as much as possible once they
Okay,
vacate
that's
the
what
property.
I needed to hear. That's what I needed to hear. That's what I needed to hear. That's what I'm reading it on the screen. That's what I needed to hear. So sometimes he calls me back and sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes they respond to texts.
Once they vacate, them calling you, in my opinion, is always harassment. So don't take the call. You're not required to. Listen to the voicemail, decide if you want to respond.
Okay.
Okay?
That's what I needed to know.
90% of the time, it's harassment. So no, stop communicating. Stop trying to fix the problem. You're now the one in control. Got it?
Okay.
It's your
Okay.
way or no way.
Okay, here's a question. Another question with these people, the house looks like they lived there for 10 years, but they only lived there for 3 years. I mean, every wall on the house is just horrific. Handprints, stickers, all kinds of stuff.
That's damage. Handprints
I know.
is not wear and tear. Stickers are not wear and tear.
I keep telling people that, and I keep telling myself that. My
Honey,
question to you
let me
is,
say it to you a different way. Do you keep saying a certain word? The walls are destroyed. It's damage. Nowhere ever in this conversation have I heard you use the word wear and tear because you're already identifying it. You're just looking for reassurance. And I can give you all the reassurance that
I
you
need the reassurance. Trust me,
No,
I need
no, no,
that.
no. Let me help you, okay? Because I can reassure you all you need, but you're answering your own question because you keep saying damage. And you're right. You're not wrong, okay? Remember, furniture marks where the chair rubbed against the wall over 3 years, wear and tear. Where the rocking chair hit it and made a hole, that's damage, okay? Damage is damage all day long. Wear and tear is little scuffs, little chips, little spots, okay? So just start going down the road of damage. The reason the tenant is down your throat is because they know you're gonna be deducting stuff from their security deposit and they're already trying to manipulate you.
True. Okay.
Ha! So I'm
So-
sorry, I have 21 days to get out your final disposition of security deposit. Once
Okay.
that's mailed to you, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you have. And when they call you, you're gonna say, well, after speaking to my legal counsel, those charges stand. And if you wish to challenge them, that's on you. Have a wonderful day and good luck in your future endeavors.
Okay, another question is, okay, I've been there 2 days. I've been there 2 days going through this house because there's so much.
Honey, I
And I'm
know.
taking picture of every single thing that is damaged. For instance, I put a new garage door opener and now I've got gray, 2 feet of gray grease or something on where they swiped it through with something. We have to date all of our photos. Is that going to be okay, even if the photo is dated on the...
Sweetheart, it doesn't matter when you take those photos because remember, once it's all fixed and repaired, you need another set of photos.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Not a problem.
Thank you. That's what I needed to know because I was worried about that too. Okay, great.
It's okay. Once it's all fixed and repaired, you're going to have another set of photos. And that photos is going to act as 2 things. It's going to be the final photos after all the repairs are done and probably the move-in photos for your new tenant. See how that works?
Right, exactly, exactly. Okay, so do I take the photos that I had previously when the other tenant moved out? The house was very clean. I took tons of photos. Do I need to date those photos? Because
You
the
need to
dater
start
that I
date and
have will
times-
date them the date that the photo was taken.
Start date and time stamping your photos. It's just a good habit to have. And I want to teach you guys all a secret right now, okay? And hear me out because you guys are all gonna go, yeah, she's right. I know what she's talking about. Watch, I'm gonna say something and all the property managers in here are gonna go, yep, I still have 2 of them. Watch. Sony CyberShot. Oh, did we all own that little Sony CyberShot camera? You know, the one that had 4 megapixels and then they came out with the 6. Oh, and remember when they came out with the 10 megapixels? Oh, we all had to go get the one when it had 14 megapixels and a touch screen, remember? Remember? We all carried those little cameras around everywhere and then went back to the office and downloaded all the pictures into the computer. You remember that? We'd end up taking 150 photos of one house. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, an apartment, okay? Pay attention. Technology has changed. What, Patty? I have an iPhone. Some of you guys have Samsung phones. Have you seen the photos they take? They're insane. So do yourself a favor. Get in the back corner of a room, okay? A room has 4 corners, right? Get in one of them. Back that camera up and hold it up against the wall so you're almost flat with the wall and the camera, you can get as much in that. And you know how you can even zoom out? That's what you want. You want to not zoom in, zoom out. Because if you take a picture in one direction and then go to the other side of the wall and take a picture in the other direction, and in that photo, you have the ceiling fan and the carpet, you're winning. Why? Because you can then zoom in on any part of that photo and screenshot it. Wait, what? Did Patty just teach us an easier way to take photos at a property? We're not spending an hour there taking photos to document anything. Technology has changed. We can do a lot of things right there with our smartphones, folks. Use them. You don't need 150 photos anymore. Stand back, take your time, and get one really good photo of one corner of the room and then go to the opposite corner of the room. Make sure it shows that there's screens on the windows. Make sure that the photo shows that there's blinds or curtains there. Just present it, get way back, And then try this next time. You guys all know what I'm talking about. You take a picture far back and then we do this with our phone and we zoom in and then we get where we want it to be and then we screenshot that area. You can do that in your house photos too, right from your desk.
Yeah, but what happened? How do you prove like they didn't wash a window in the house for 3 years? Okay, so I'm taking pictures of the windows, trying to show all the gunk and yuck and stuff on the windows.
All you have to do is go inside or outside of the unit and take a picture of that film that's on the windows. We can tell that the windows aren't clean by looking at a window, or if the window's clean, just take pictures. Take pictures when you take pictures of the room and make sure that you get that in there. But going through and taking 300 photos, 400 photos, you're working harder, not smarter. I mean, if you really think about it, you're now taking 150 photos that you have to go store somewhere. And in all reality, you don't print out those 150 photos when you go to court. You pick and choose which ones you want. So pick and choose and delete them off your phone because that's what you're taking your photos with anyway. Let's all be honest. Nobody's using a cyber shot anymore or 35 millimeter, any of that. We're just not doing it. But that's why we used to take so many photos is we had to find the best one where it wasn't pixelated. Everything was in detail. You guys all know what I'm talking about. We don't have to do that anymore. And I'm going to teach you a secret, okay? If you need to use something to measure size, like a hole in the wall, if you zoom in on it and take a picture of a hole in the wall, the court can't tell whether it's a doorknob hole or a basketball hole because there's no size reference. Make sense? So you don't want to picture inside of the hole of the detail because it doesn't show the problem. You want to stand back and take a picture. I used to carry, don't laugh at me. I used to carry a dollar bill and a quarter. Why? And if you're going to take a picture using a dollar bill for reference for size, please don't take a picture of the serial numbers. Okay? Turn it over. Don't get yourself in any trouble. But it's something that we readily have available unless we own property, right? But a dollar bill is something that you can easily reference for size. If you're trying to mark a big gash in a wood floor, a vinyl floor, lay a dollar bill there next to the gash to show how big it is. It gives the court reference because those photos, when you think about it, we zoom in on that damage. We can't tell if that's an 8-foot gash or an 8-inch gash. So that's where it becomes questionable. So do yourselves a favor, instead of zooming in on the damage, back up a little bit and show from a farther perspective away what we're dealing with. Okay? Work smarter, not harder.
Okay.
Besides,
okay.
sitting at your desk, zooming in and screenshotting is so much easier than staying at the house.
But when I have to give them their 21-day
Itemized disposition of security deposit.
security deposit, what do I do? Go and make copies of all this stuff and show them before and after? Is that what I need to do?
Under new law, and Arlene's gonna tell me starting July 1st, right, Arlene?
Yes.
We need to have move-in photos, move-out photos, and then photos after the repairs were completed in order to charge the tenant. Starting July 1.
So what do I do now?
Go ahead and process your disposition of security deposit. If you want to mail them your evidence, you go right ahead. But I would wait and save that for a judge in a courtroom.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Wait,
Okay.
I thought you were required to provide it to them though. I mean, I could see a judge
Starting
saying,
July 1st.
oh, so you're saying now, but okay.
Bingo.
But after July 1st, I would definitely provide it to them. Okay.
Yes, Chris. Yes. But for right now, she's already into the disposition. They've already vacated.
Yeah,
July 1st,
gotcha.
she's going to have to do the dispo before the 1st of July comes.
And
Okay,
if you
Patti,
give them the whole security deposit back, you don't have to send anything because no work was done.
Correct. And if it's less than $125, you don't have to have any documentation.
Okay, so I have one more question and then I'll let everyone ask theirs.
Okay,
They gave a date of June 2nd. And so on June 2nd, I went over there and I inspected the house. So I start my 21-day process the day after that, correct?
when did they tell you they were out of the property?
They told me they were out of the property at 2:50 on Saturday, May 31st.
Did you go there on May 31st?
No, I did not go there.
You
I
went
asked
there on the
them.
next possible day for you, which was June 2nd?
I contacted them the following day, June 1st. I said, okay, I will meet you over at the house between 1 and 2 today. And they said, no, we can't come because we can't come. So I said, okay, I'll meet you at the house June 2nd between 2 and 4. And they didn't show up. But I was there at 1:30.
If they already told you that they left the keys, they
Yes, they already
surrendered,
said that they left and they left the
they
keys.
surrendered possession and you didn't need to meet them there for anything.
Right, and they don't need, right.
Okay, so they
So-
told you the keys were out on that day and surrendered possession. Although you can charge rent, I would do my disposition based on the day they surrendered possession.
Okay, so that's May 31st.
Bingo. So you
Okay,
got
so
till-
that day, but the days start the day after May 31st, right?
I would start it on the 31st.
Okay, Okay.
I don't play around. You guys gotta understand something. I was a regional property manager for 10 years. So let me tell you, when you guys start asking me about the 21 days, the reason I pause is this. In corporate America, we don't follow that guideline. You guys are like, wait, what? We don't. See, if you're a property manager and you work in corporate America, you have 14 days to get your disposition of security deposit to your supervisor. Your supervisor then has until the 18th day to get it to accounting, so that accounting has plenty of time to do it before the 21 days hit. So in my brain, I work on a much fast paced on a disposition of security deposit because I work on a different timeline. Make sense? Okay, but 21 days, and I'm gonna tell you, start doing yours in 20 days. Don't take the whole 21 if you don't need it. It's risky. And make sure you get that date stamp, everything.
okay.
Patty, can you send the paperwork, the security deposit dispo, the paperwork by mail and do, instead of doing a check, do it electronically, the funds?
Yes, you can, as long as the tenant is approved of it. And I'll tell you right now, with all the electronic transfers that everybody does, it's so much easier to refund a disposition of security deposit that way, because you can email them the paperwork, snail mail them the paperwork, so
Oh,
you're in compliance.
you can email the paperwork?
Yeah, but you still have to snail mail it to
Okay,
be in compliance with statute.
okay.
So what I do is I email it to them, hit print, mail it to them, and then electronically refund their deposit amount.
And do you think you can send the photos electronically via the email as well? Or does it have to be, does it physically have to be print?
To comply with the statute, you have to mail it to them.
So you have to have them printed out?
I always print it out, mail it, because it scares me because the statute doesn't say anything about emailing them the itemized copy. It says mailing them. And
But you
it's
can
only a
just- you
matter
can
of
just print
time.
it on your computer, right? You don't have to take it to,
I mail it.
no. The photos, do you have to get them like physically?
After July 1st, you're gonna have to include physical photos of move in, move
Right, but
out.
what I'm saying is, can you go to photos and put it into a
A
document? and print-
PDF and email them that?
No,
Yeah.
and print them.
Yes.
So I don't have to go to like Kinko or CVS and print the pictures.
No, you should be able to print them out on your home computer.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna take the next question and then I'm gonna try to get through this really quick because Arlene's got a good story to share with all of us. Okay, so hang on. Julia, San Bernardino, how do you handle a death of a spouse without coming across heartless, insensitive, but also managing my business, supporting my family? They are great tenants, the ones who graduated from Section 8 for making too much, awful timing. She called me hysterically crying, asking if I got her check. I said yes. She went on to say she can move out if she can't afford it, but we'll go back on Section 8. It will take 2 months. A relative will move in if need be. They started a GoFundMe and I asked if I can donate. Nah, stay out of it. Stay out of it. And that's me being personal. Stay out of it. My response to her was to focus on your family and funeral. And we'll figure things out. Please be in communication once with me. Once I donate, I will inform her that I'm going to deposit her check and be in communication with me about Section 8. That's a business decision between you and her. Personally, if it were me, and let me just think about this for a minute, I would deposit her rent check now. I would not hold that at all. I would probably donate, but I wouldn't donate more than $100, and that's me talking out loud. Hang on. And then I would probably, because I know you're in the Inland Empire with your property, I would probably work with her for the 60 days until Section 8 got kicked back in or until the family. I'd probably try to work it out rather than flip a vacant again.
But how come you were, I didn't think you were going to be as cautious about donating. I thought, because I know you had mentioned last call, like, oh, you can even get them like a little gift, you know, they graduated from Section 8. I haven't done that. But I'm like, oh, in lieu of that, I'll just, you know,
Well,
she mentioned.
rather than giving her a gift for graduating for Section 8, because that's a huge accomplishment, you guys. When you have a tenant that no longer qualifies for Section 8 and they are standing on their own feet, paying the rent, reward them. Okay. When life happens to them, remember one thing, it happens to all of us. Okay. It happens to all of us. Okay. Did you say you have to cover up the serial number on the dollar bill? I know that it's illegal to photograph or reproduce money, and you're going to use this in court. And that's just me being overly cautious and thinking opposing counsel, and I doubt that it would happen, but you shouldn't take photographs of serial numbers on dollar bills. They may say you're trying to counterfeit. I don't know. That's just me trying to be extremely cautious. I know there's some kind of a law about it. And I know we always have $1 or $5. Some of us may even have 20 in our wallet. So it's an easy thing to pull out and use as a reference. I'm just saying, for my own stay out of an orange vest brain, flip it over so you're not taking a picture of the serial number. That's all I was trying to say. I'm not trying to scare you. And don't ever admit that we did something wrong. If they come personal to pick up the dispo, do you still have to mail? No, you gave it to them personal service. Okay, Arlene, share your story with us because I'm excited to share this.
Yeah, it's just a quick story, but I took I have property out of state, and so I took a fair housing class last week, and this was something that the instructor shared, and I just thought it was kind of interesting because, you know, we talk about getting calls or whatever and testers for our properties, but this was for those of you who are realtors. It never dawned on me that they might be tested as well. So a man comes in nicely dressed to a real estate office, and he says, I'm an all cash buyer. I want to buy a house, and I want to buy it now. And I want you to show me a house that has, you know, 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, but it has to be in in the best school district or a really good school district. And it has to be in a safe area. And they looked at him and was like, well, what neighborhood would you like to look at? And he kept pushing and pushing and pushing. He's like, I want to be in a safe area, and I want a good school. I want the best school district, and and they wouldn't buy. And he kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And finally, he turned around to walk out and he said, "You guys passed." And he walked out. So I thought that was pretty interesting. For those of you in,
You'd be shocked at how they come across. And I've seen agents on a Ring doorbell, okay? Telling their client before they're walking into a tenant occupied unit, oh, this is a great area. You're walking distance to schools. There's churches nearby. And I'm like,
yeah.
If I could tell all the real estate agents practicing real estate and you guys want to spread something like cancer, do them all a favor and tell them this. You know that statewide rent control law that says the whole state of California is subject to rent control? Don't forget to disclose that in your sales agreements.
Mhm. Yeah.
There's a lot of litigation going on for that right now. All right, and we're coming up on the hour. Does anybody else have anything?
Yeah, I just
Otherwise-
have, I have a quick question to the other members. If any, I have my ad up on Zillow and I got somebody who wants to, usually they request a tour and I call them and discuss it before I meet with them. This person keeps asking for an application and that's not my typical way of doing it. And I wondered if anybody has used Zillow and what that application process is. And if you do it, can you say, well, but I have my own, criteria and my own application. So you can send me that and we can talk, but I'm not using that for my decision. I don't know if that's legal to do that.
Well, it all depends, Arlene. If they're giving you a copy of a credit report and something like that, and they're not on Section 8, you don't have to accept it.
But I don't know if anybody's if somebody's ever used Zillow and what the what is it a real application or do they just, I don't know whether that means that they're getting a credit check and it's a true background
I
application.
understand. You're asking how trustworthy is the resource. I get it.
Well, I mean, I don't even know what it means. I don't know what you get if you send somebody an
Has
application.
anybody used Zillow for screening? Let's try that.
I know we got at least a lead of somebody in there from there, but for some reason we wound up on Rent Spree. So I'm not sure if that was the Zillow.
They could be
push them?
connected. They could be utilizing Zillow, could be using Rent Spree to run credit.
But Rent Spree kind of annoys me because they have their own proprietary score that's not a FICO, and I'd much rather get their actual FICO.
Bingo. I agree. All right, anybody else?
Patty, this is for Arlene. I've listed on Zillow and then they fill out like, I don't know, 3 questions and it asks like how much they make. And then they ask like what their range for their credit score is. But I just keep it at that. I don't actually use their application or any of that because I feel like it kind of, yeah, I don't know how trustworthy it is and I kind of lose control.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know. So, because I just wasn't sure whether you got those 3 questions, whether that was from an application or that was just something when they respond to you. So,
Yeah,
okay.
so they just like, and I even had my husband like create like a fake account and he filled out those questions and then I'm like, oh, I want to see what comes in. So he fills that out. I got it. It's literally them just like putting in, what kind of a range of what they make and then their, what they think their credit score is and blah, blah, blah. But then I tell them, here's my application and this is because I don't use Zillow does have an actual application process. I don't use any of that. I just get it for the leads. And if they want to fill out those voluntary questions, they can, and that's it.
I'm in the same way. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't losing a potential by not doing that. And Julia, can I just ask what, because I'm not part of AOA, what credit thing did you do, or who? Like Apply Connect or something, or it's their own proprietary thing?
No, if you go to AOA and if you go to tenant screening, it's like the most
Yeah, but don't you have
expensive.
to be a member of AOA?
Yes, you do have to be a member of AOA.
Yeah.
And so I am a member of the AOA, and although I didn't renew it this time around, but when I had someone moving in, I was part of the AOA membership, and it says tenant screening options, and
Mhm.
it's the most expensive one. It's about like 45.99 or something. And it's kind of has like a weird name, and it's like called double whammy or something like that. So I don't know. It's it has, but like that double whammy definitely paid for itself
Right,
because
yeah.
they sent me the stuff, and usually the credit check, like they send me all that instantly, and then it says, oh, you'll get this other report in like 3 to 5 business days. I'm like, what? And so then I call them. They're like, yeah, we got to go and do like a search, but we'll send it to you. And then they did, and I
Hmm.
I was so happy with it that, it was
Yeah.
definitely worth the wait.
Yeah, I just wonder if AGLA has anything. Do you have any idea, Patty, if AGLA's, because they use Apply Connect and
They
stuff.
use Apply Connect right now, and I'm not sure
'Cause when
how
yeah,
in
because
depth.
I used that for this last tenant, and it did say evictions and other stuff, and it said none under it. So maybe they do the same thing, but maybe because it cleared, they were able to do it quickly. I don't know. I don't know. Okay.
There's some. Wouldn't it be great if you could call up your eviction attorney and say, hey, have you ever evicted this tenant before? Have you ever? Patty, don't tell
Arlene,
me we're gonna start a new job doing that. No.
We should
uh,
be able to do that.
Yeah, no, they won't share the knowledge. Look at it this way, okay? If your attorney told you that, they wouldn't make any money. Just saying. Right? You guys put that whole picture
always-
together?
I always wondered if landlords can, I mean, I know we're supposed to share that information when we're doing our tenant screening, but I wish there was a way we could organize that information and just make it more accessible to each other. Because we're all
That
having the same problem.
It
that would
used to
be
be, it's just they're common
that would
misled.
be discriminatory.
It's not
Oh,
it's not
never mind.
discrimination. They made it illegal, didn't they? I mean,
Yeah,
they're like sealing
it's-
eviction filings, which in the good old days of 2018, the good
Yeah,
old
it
days.
passed in 2017, January
Okay.
1st, 2017.
I can't hear both of you. Say it again.
Sorry, January 1st, 2017 passed the eviction masking law,
But that's just state, right?
state of California.
Well,
And
it's
what that
everything in the
says,
state of California.
So
that says,
what was it? The masking law, and it does what?
hold on, I'm going to explain it to you, okay?
Okay.
It's called the eviction masking law. It passed January 1st, 2017. And it says that if a landlord chooses to evict the tenant and they prevail within the first 60 days of filing the case, the eviction shows on the credit report. If it goes over 60 days, the record is sealed and no one will ever be able to see the eviction. What that said to tenants is if you move out before you go to trial, you're going to have an eviction. If you ask for a trial, it's going to go over 60 days and the record's going to be sealed. So it encouraged litigation to happen.
Oh, okay.
But I have heard some things on the subject.
Go ahead, give
When
us
I
your
was
opinion,
talking,
Chris.
well, when I was talking about the eviction mills being not so great, there is a attorney online who claims that if somebody is ready to go with their trial, they can sometimes successfully get within that 60 days. I don't know whether that claim is 100% true, but
Well, let me tell you some things, okay? I've done a lot of evictions at the law firm in less than 60 days where the record was open and they had an eviction on their credit. But hear me out right, okay? if you're a landlord and the tenant, and you file eviction because you're telling the tenant, this is no business, I ain't playing with you, and the tenant then moves out, that's messed up that they have an eviction on their credit. And the person that yanks you over the coals
I
and
agree.
drags it out for 12 months and costs you $85,000 doesn't have anything on their credit. It's garbage. And that's what I mean about the broken system. I mean, I want the
I thought the
person that
filing,
ran
I thought there was something about is it on a local level that the filing, the mere fact of filing, because I heard
it's
something.
from the date of case filing to
Right, it's the whole
judgment.
thing, because I think back in the day too, you could also find out whether something was filed, so if.
Well, back in the day, and it's always been this way, from the first 60 days of filing the case, it's masked anyway.
Right, but at least like historically going back, you would know, like, you know.
There's litigation pending, but we don't get to
You-
see that anymore.
But you would at least know that in the past that somebody had filed something, and it's typically because, you know, they're either a bad tenant or they failed to pay their rent. Now, maybe they wound up moving out and not going through the whole process.
Automated voice messaging system.
I didn't do
3,
it.
2, 3, 8,
Uh-oh,
0,
somebody's phone's
4.
going crazy. It's not me. Did I push a button? Was that me? Uh-oh. It's called the Works Combo, $39.95 a person, includes a live investigator
Hi,
service.
this is April with Rentwise LA. I did miss your call. How can I help you?
Hang on, I'll fix it. Hang on.
I would like.
I think I know how to fix this.
Service. I saw.
I muted April. There we go. I thought I did something. She just got busy. It's okay. We all have things we have to do, and I totally get that and understand it. Just so everybody knows, you may have a little bit of trouble getting a hold of me for the next week. Today I am in beautiful Santa Monica. Hopefully we don't find anybody smoldering it on fire again, but I am here in Santa Monica. Tonight I am getting on a boat and going deep sea fishing out of Channel Islands overnight. And then I am headed to the Sierras for my sister's birthday. So next Wednesday, we're going to be live at the same time, but I'm going to be coming to you live from the Sierra Nevada mountain range, wherever I get service. So bear with me next Wednesday. Should be a beautiful view, if nothing else. And I always thought I could just go down to the creek and take you guys fishing with me. We may catch a trout or two. That might be fun. I don't know. I'm trying to keep it real. So let me know what you guys want to see. If you want to go live and fish for trout, I have no problem doing that. We'll have my sister fishing behind me. Hopefully she catches something. She usually does. And at least you guys can watch that. Just thought it might be neat. If you guys need anything else, please text me today. Yes, I love to go fishing. Going fishing tonight. And I need it. It's what keeps me grounded. All right, you guys have a great week. If there's anything else I can do, feel free to reach out for me. I will see you next Wednesday. And
Thanks, Patty.
thank you guys. Bye, everybody.
Stay safe.
All right,
Bye.
bye.
Bye.